Hi, everyone. Lovely to meet everyone from wherever you're joining, all over the world, in India or anywhere else. And we're happy to speak with you today about debunking some common MBA myths. We are now, close to end of July. We only have August remaining, and September. All the round one deadlines will start early September. All right. So just to introduce ourselves, my name is Preeti Wadekar. I'm the head of MBA admissions consulting services at the Red Pen. And I've done my MBA from Columbia Business School. I have had a 17-year corporate career, close to about 5 to 7 years of entrepreneurship experience. Business is my passion, and I love working with bright and driven young MBA applicants, helping you crack your MBA dreams. I'll let Gunjan introduce herself and then we'll move forward.
So, hello everyone. I'm Gunjan. I'm a senior consultant at the Red Pen. I have over a decade plus experience across diverse industries, including Google. I've also had my own startups, two startups in different spaces. And I absolutely love what I do. It's so good to be able to help candidates, fine tune their application. And it's so fulfilling to see when they make it to their dream colleges.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Gunjan. I'm very excited to do this with you. Now, let's just hit right in. Okay. Now, this is a poll. Okay. And I want, which is why, we want to make this interactive. Now, what do you think? In which round should you submit your MBA application? Round one, round two, or either round one or round two? Please post your comments and answers in the chat. And we will come to this a little later, but we really want to. This is, I think, the most important question that plagues many applicants. So, okay, people are already posting, but I'll let people just interact more. Okay, someone said round one. There are few who are saying, okay, see, either round one or round two, and we'll definitely buzz that myth. But I really want to know the answer to this question, to keep those options just coming in. Just type your answers, guys. Okay, let's move on to the first myth, and I'll hand over to Gunjan to start.
So this is a very common myth that we get from potential applicants saying that they want to go ahead and apply in round one versus round two because round one the seats are free and round two they would have filled, business schools would have filled a certain percentage of their seats, but that's not true. Business schools time and again have said that they are round agnostic, which means that they go ahead and tell us, please ask your clients to submit the application when they are ready. And so here, your personal timing matters. And what do I mean by personal timing? So let's say, round one deadlines are just complete and you are expecting a promotion that's going to add more value to your professional experience and you could showcase a lot more than what you could while you're submitting it in round one, then I would say wait out and submit it in round two. Again, you've taken the GRE, GMAT, you're not very satisfied with the score. So I would say wait out and do the GMAT and submit. If you feel that you can significantly improve your score, then go ahead and submit in round two. So apply when when your application is the strongest and when you feel you've done justice to the entire application process. So that's the first myth. And I could see a lot of people talk about A as well, option A, which was round one. So, be mindful of when you're submitting and submit when you know that you've done all it takes to get into a business school. This is the second myth, which people talk about, which is recommendations from high ranking executives are crucial. Now, let's understand why is LOR even a part of the application process. The reason why you have an LOR is because admission officers want to know how are you at work, what are your professional strengths, what are your weaknesses, and they're looking for concrete specific examples to support those strengths and weaknesses. So who's the right person to go to? Someone whom you would be interacting with on a daily basis. These high ranking executives like the CEOs, the COOs, the directors, or the partners would not be somebody whom you would be interacting on a daily basis. So get your recommendation from your reporting manager. That would be the ideal scenario. Or if for some reason you're not able to even inform your reporting manager that, hey, look, I'm applying to a B school and I would be taking off if I get an admit, then you could go to your previous company and take an LOR from the previous reporting managers. These business schools are very, very accommodating when it comes to LORs. In fact, they have an optional essay or somewhere in the application form, they would ask this question for your choice of recommender. And that's solely because they know that sometimes you cannot go to your reporting manager. So business schools have no bias towards heavy titles or executive titles. They are looking from LOR from people who know you closely. Here, I would just like to state that we have an offer worth 1,500 towards the for those people who stay with us till the end of the webinar. So please hang on, everybody, and see what we have for you, for all of you who are there till the end of the webinar. Over to you, Preeti.
Great. Yeah, that's great. So I think we have enough people now to kind of announce that special, reward that we have. I think someone just asked a question, which is, was there a question, for the reward? Did I miss anything? So for the poll that we conducted, there was no reward. But if you stay right till the end, then you'll definitely, there's something definitely worth at least $1,500. So please stay right till the end and do keep it engaging. Keep your questions coming. I'm seeing some really interesting questions, and I will take them, towards the end. Both Gunjan and I will take them. Okay. Okay, now you should avoid discussing weaknesses in your application. Now, the MBA application is about putting your best foot forward. Okay, it is definitely about showcasing the best side, and it's not about kind of saying, hey, here is all my pros and here are all my cons, and now you decide what you want. Someone is reading your applications from thousands of miles away who's never met you, perhaps if you're not engaged with admissions officers, or if you have, maybe they've met you on some occasion, but they don't know everything about you. It is definitely about putting your best foot forward, and you are supposed to do that through multiple application components like the resume, the LORs, the essays, so they get a chance to know you. Now, weaknesses have to be seen in a very specific context. How did you address, weakness can be a personal weakness, right? And maybe you had a gap year, during your undergrad, or you had a poor GPA, or you pulled. So some of the weaknesses or professional weaknesses, right? Maybe there's you quit your job, or you were fired, or uh, after college, you were not hired, in anything pretty much for like a year's time. So there could be a personal weakness, there could be a professional weakness. Be very mindful about not just glazing over those weaknesses. They can be very apparent in an application, so it is very context specific. If you have a poor GPA, then you can, that's the academic, the data bucket under which you're evaluated. So your academic credentials, your GPA, your subject selection, the choice of your institution, GMAT or GRE score, breakup of that GMAT GRE score amongst verbal and quant. So multiple factors will be taken into consideration. So you need to strengthen the other factors. Okay, so some of the weaknesses will be very apparent, and the only strategy to counter them is to kind of showcase, okay, I addressed that this was a weakness, and these are the specific steps I have taken to overcome that weakness. Okay, and this is where working with a consultant can be very, very useful, because we look at 1,000 resumes in a year, and work with about a couple hundred applicants, right? So it's basically, it gives us a broader view as to how applicants are being viewed, right? So you should definitely discuss. In many applications, you have the optional essay to discuss a weakness upfront, and what did you do to kind of counter that. That being said, not every weakness is important for an MBA application. Something that happened in high school, that oh, I made it up to state level, but in high school I also participated in this competitive sport at the national level, but I was not selected. That is something you don't need to really mention. Yeah, you went up to state level and you competed at the national levels, and that's fine. So it's very context specific, but it's a myth to say you should avoid discussing weaknesses. As a future potential business leader, you will have multiple challenges, and what you need to showcase is your potential as a business leader. So if you have a specific weakness, a physical deformity, it could be anything, your personal situation, circumstances, how you overcame them, will be very important. Another point I want to point out, I don't know how many of you Great. Thank you so much. Someone said +1 on that. Okay. There's a question, and I think someone wants an answer. I'll just come to that. Okay. So I think what I want to just reiterate over here is that we introduced at the Red Pen an early MBA planning package. Why did we do that? Because increasingly we saw that people are coming to us in the year of application. There is only so much that you can do if you have, let's say, serious weaknesses or gaps in your profile, which you are like, oh, maybe I never thought that I will apply to a competitive business school, or that it would be my dream to do so, and now I cannot do anything about it. So my recommendation, usually, if you are not applying this year, next year, or the year after, please start working on your applications early, and at least start researching programs, and working on everything, at least 2 years in advance. So, you get into that mindset as to what are the parts of my profile that I need to strengthen from now on. Okay. Next slide. All right. Networking and connecting with current students are necessary. I just need to impress the admissions committee. But that is not right. When we talk about business school research, and please go to our YouTube channel, we had done an amazing presentation on how to go about doing school research and school selection, and all the good things around that. You have to do business school research by talking to multiple people. You have to speak with faculty. Please do that. People generally don't do that, but try to engage in what are the kind of academic experiences you're looking forward to at a particular business school, and do engage with faculty. There's nothing wrong in that, to kind of know more about what you will learn in a specific subject, or maybe you want to also work as a teaching assistant, a research assistant, or do some research papers along with that. It's very exciting. So faculty is one. Admissions committee obviously is, that's the obvious one. Current students are very important. They will actually tell you what is changing at the business school right now. For example, I will be conducting a webinar. This will be on through our Red Pen webinars, and do stay tuned in for that, because I will be conducting a webinar on Friday with an admissions officer at Columbia Business School. It'll be around 7 p.m. India time. So I think please do join in. The reason I'm bringing that up is because last year, as a part of the AGAC conference, I was at Columbia Business School, and we heard the dean speak about how Columbia is rapidly changing its curriculum, and how much they have changed in the last 5 years to catch up with the digital economy. They in fact believe that future businesses can be purely digital, and they're actually investing a lot in recruiting students into their community who are focusing on digital careers. That is very important for you to know, and some of the current students will actually give you more current information as to what's happening. These insights, when you bring into business school applications, that is authentic interest that you showcase, that okay, I really know what I'm getting into. It's an expensive degree. Your time and money both in an MBA degree is very, very expensive, and it only tells the school that what, this is someone who's really committed to coming to our campus, and truly succeeding here. There's a good fit here. And of course, you look at past students. You should go to LinkedIn, and every business school also on their website, you will find that there are modes to they have student ambassadors with whom you can connect. Please maintain an Excel file or a Word document, whatever is whatever you are comfortable with digital notes, or paper, whatever you're comfortable with. Please maintain thorough notes on people that you speak with. There is a specific set of questions that we've covered in the other webinar which I spoke about. It's on school research. It's on the Red Pen's YouTube channel. Please go and visit. And there's a list of indicative questions which you can use. You can add some of your own questions. We all are also happy to help you. So if you are like, hey, I'm talking to an adcom tomorrow, can you just give me a lowdown if these are the right questions to ask? Please send us an email. There'll be an email address shared at the end. But do engage in thoughtful and meaningful conversations. So current students, faculty, admissions committee, and past students. I think you should cover this entire gamut, and do network and connect with everyone. Also, when you look at past students, one interesting question to ask them is, okay, how many schools did you get admits to, and why did you choose this school, and why did you not go to that? That also gives you an understanding how to select from multiple business schools when you have multiple admits. Okay, on to Gunjan.
MBA rankings are the most important factor. Let's be honest, as humans, we just tend to get carried away by rankings, right? But let's not do that when we are choosing our business school application, because, as Preeti mentioned, it's 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 when you're going to spend the year, 2 years of your life. It's a heavy investment in education, and you have to make a more mature decision. Okay, I mean, everybody wants to go to Harvard, everybody wants to go to Stanford, but is it really the right place for you? Question that. And how do you do that? There are various parameters you should look at. For example, your goals. Does the school have the resources that will help you fulfill your goals? That could be one. Class size, something as basic as class size. Is it a big classroom? Is it small class size? I had a client who said, look, I'm an introvert, so I would want to go to this school because it has a lower class size and I'll be more comfortable in that sort of an environment. You should look at the learning pedagogy. What is it? Is it action based learning? Is it more practical learning, or is it classroom? It's tilted more towards case studies and classroom learning. If that's the case, then you have to assess your personal learning style. Do you like a more hands on learning, or do you want a combination? So that could be another factor. Then again, employment outcomes. The companies that you want to work with, are they coming on campuses, or do you think that you will be able to get yourself recruited in these companies? That could be another. Alumni network. How does the school engage with the alumni? This is one of the biggest takeaway from a business school education, the network. So is the school making conscious efforts to engage with the alumni? Are there, like, programs which are formal programs to connect with the alumni? The tuition fees. Are you in a position to shell out that sort of a tuition fee? Or are you looking for those schools where you feel your scholarship chances are higher? So there are various factors to look at. The location of the school. Do you like to be in like a town, like a big town, or do you prefer the smaller towns? That's another thing, because it has to suit your personal lifestyle, your personal and professional goals. So look at all these factors when you are making that important decision of your life as to which business school you want to attend. So, understanding your best fit school will maximize your chances of gaining admission, and you will not face frustration once you're inside the program. You'll be happy making that investment of time and money into the program. So, yes, if there are questions, please keep posting them. We will take them as and when we could. The next, okay, here I want to take a minute to talk about us, the Red Pen. We've been into the business of MBA admissions consulting for over 30 plus years, and our numbers speak for itself. We've had 99% applicants who received an interview invite in the previous cycle, who we were able to get scholarship worth $2.2 million in the previous admission cycle. We have a global team of consultants, and we have admits from every top business school across Europe, US, and India. And this is something that we've been doing. We also have other service lines, including undergrad, postgrad, boarding school. This is as Preeti mentioned, we offer an array of services, not just full comprehensive packages. We also offer early advising. We offer interview prep. We offer essay editing. There are different services to cater to different. You also have deferred MBA. If you're looking at deferred MBA, you could come to us. So if you are looking for any assistance in this round one or round two, you could reach out to us, and we would be happy to do like a 30-minute free profile evaluation for you. Over to you, Preeti.
All right. Great. So the more the extracurriculars, the better. Now, extracurriculars has a very special place, and this is a question we get asked often by anyone and everyone who approaches us. That hey, you know what? I have this busy consulting career, investing career, or whatever non-profit career, but I have I'm too busy and I just don't have the time. And I used to kind of play a competitive sport, or I was doing ABC XYZ when I was in college. But I since I started working, I just don't have the time. Now, um, we have heard this from admissions officers that they are looking for a deeper, meaningful engagement and quality over quantity. So don't spread yourself. This myth is, I think, the easiest to bust. Don't spread yourself thin. Do apply yourself in meaningful ways, and truly reflect on what is it that really matters to you. Also be very smart about engaging, in all these extracurriculars. For example, if you love playing, some kind of sport, look if you can start, a team or a club, or if there is something already, through the human resources practice at your organization, and then try to, mobilize a group of colleagues and do that. Also, you can combine this with a bit of community giving. You can also find organizations which are, and there are many now, if you're at least in prominent cities, or you can start one if you're in a smaller town, where you go to schools where, some of the underprivileged kids are taught, and, form a group and mobilize and then teach them and coach them on that. We all know that, teaching is amazing. Teaching, mentoring, it's a great way to give back to the society in anything that that you're good at. And this kind of, it sort of kills two birds with one stone. It's a part of your community citizenship aspect that you can showcase in your applications, as well as nurturing the extracurriculars that you are really very passionate about. So do reflect, and if you also can connect, the kind of activities that you engage in with the kind of clubs which exist at business schools that you're applying to, then that's even better. So that you can say that, hey, I love, for example, we had an applicant who loved sailing, and she's like, I'm applying to Columbia Business School because, and why New York has, this such a vibrant sailing community, and so does Columbia Business School have that. So it sort of ties in extremely well together. So always look for these multiple ways in which, you can, you know um, look at the whole extracurricular bucket, and not just say, okay, now I need to spend weekends doing this and this, and or, just um yeah. And we've also, by the way, just to go to an extreme end, we've seen applicants who have not engaged in extracurriculars at all, but some of the other pointers on their applications were so strong that it's like, oh, it's not that, this is a spreadsheet with rankings, and schools are like, oh, the extracurricular has like 0 points, so this is like, no, it's a holistic review of the application. And admissions officers are definitely cognizant of the fact that, not everyone has to engage in everything that they enjoy, especially when you're, working. Okay, you need to have a business background, biggest truth. So I think business schools are looking at uh, putting a diverse class together. So many applicants and many candidates in a business school classroom are also people who are there to change their careers. So these are people who do not have a business background, and you're going there to study business. Now, that being said, you have to also understand that an important aspect of a business school application is to reflect on your post MBA goals, because you're not just going there and just say that, oh, I'm going to learn business and then I'll figure out what to do with my life. That's not how, that's not how it rolls. So what you need to think about is, how does my pre MBA work experience, which may be non-business, how does that relate to post MBA goals? So why am I going to business school? That is a question that you need to answer, more than whether I have a business background or not. You may have zero business background. You may be a doctor and saying that, I need to understand business because I want to start my own clinic, I want to start my own hospital, whatever, right? You may be coming from a non-profit background and say that, what, I like the whole non-profit space, but hey, what, I want to maybe move into consulting for these non-profits, and I want to learn best practices from a private sector consulting standpoint, and then bring those best practices back to the sector. um, so you have to reflect on your post MBA goals, because what admissions officers across business schools would like to see is, where do you plan to see yourself immediately post MBA short term goal, and how does that translate to your long term career ambitions. What you do not want is have some flighty, sketchy MBA goals, which does not give any admissions reader the comfort that this is not well thought through. Okay. You do not want to come across someone who comes across as, okay, there is no skill sets or transferable skills to their post MBA goals from their pre MBA work experience, but they're like, oh, we are going to figure it out. Why? Because this has a chance of impacting post MBA employment statistics. If you see, every business school, every university, even undergrad, you will see this. They will provide statistics. X percentage of our class has secured, offers, job offers within 3 months post graduation. So they take that statistic very seriously. They do not want someone on their hands who has no clue what they're doing. So you need not have a business background, but you definitely need to reflect on the question as to why do you need to go to business school. Like I said, we can definitely help you with that, and we've worked with doctors, we work with lawyers, we work with people from the army background, we work with um, you know um, people who are from non-profits, tech careers, who are completely non-business background. So tech is a great example, right? I mean, you have a lot of engineers who are going into tech, they're going into coding, and then they're like, okay, now I want to maybe move into become a product leader in the long run, product manager in the short term. Then that's a great business case to have a business degree. Yeah, I think that hope that helps
Yeah.
answer this question.
So if guys, if you're liking our content, then please like and share the video. Moving on to the next myth, older applicants are at a disadvantage. So, we often come across clients who say that I think we've just missed the bus. We're over 30 and there's no chance of making to a business school. But do not get disheartened because, as Preeti mentioned, diversity is something which every B school is looking for. And here, what are you adding? A diversity of age. You are bringing a more matured perspective because you've been into the workforce longer, and that adds, to the kind of experience that you would give in a classroom, how you would add to more classroom discussions. That is one. So what is important here is to realize that you have to present to the admission officers that you are ready to take on the academic rigor, because that is something which you've not been a part of for very long. So you have to demonstrate via your application in some form that you're ready for the academic rigor. You also have to show clarity of purpose, because since you've been into the workforce for longer, you've pivoted across different industries, different functions, and you exactly know what you want out of a business school education. So that could be another. And the third is adaptability. Sometimes age brings in rigidity. So, you have to show the admission officers that you are adaptable, you're very, very flexible, and you're open to learning new things, new technologies, new various new things that the course would bring in. So do not get disheartened if you are an older applicant. I've had a success with somebody who was 35 years old, second MBA, did not have a great CGPA, overrepresented Indian male engineer, had a 760 at GMAT, and made it to NYU Stern. So what matters is how you portray the application and how strongly you demonstrate your advantages over somebody who is competing with you on the same application pool. So, if you're an older applicant and you feel that you've missed the bus, here we are busting that myth. You still have a chance. Moving on, only applicants from top tier companies get in. No, not at all. Why? Because business schools are not biased towards big names. What they are really looking for is strategic work. What kind of impact you have made in the work that you've been a part of. In fact, I love to work with clients who've been in startups. Why? Because of the small team size, they land up doing so many different things, and they land up being a part of business decisions much earlier than somebody who would be working with a top company. So business schools do not hold any bias towards top tier companies. What they're really looking for is how nicely are you able to show impact in the work done. What's your career progression? How have you progressed in your roles? That is what business schools are looking for. So if you are not from a top tier company, do not get disheartened. Show what is the impact via numbers, because it adds a lot of credibility. Show how you've been able to make a difference by doing what you've been doing. So yes, this is over to you, Preeti. I think this is one of our last myths.
Yeah, so this is the last myth to bust and we definitely saved one of the best for the last. You must have a high GPA. I think this is a concern for many applicants. Hey, I was in college and had genuine reasons why my GPA was low, or I never thought that hey, this is going to be counted towards my MBA application, which I never even thought when I was in college that I'm going to apply. So if you have a high GPA, great. If you don't have a high GPA, is that a problem? To some degree, yes. To some degree, it is definitely a problem that you need to address, especially for Indian applicants. And I repeat this, for the non-Indians who are on the call, depending on the demographic that you come from, you may have a better chance. If the business school is, because business schools are looking to set up a very diverse class, and if you are coming from a demographic or a country that has a very small representation, they will not compare you with other, with the Indian applicants or the Chinese applicants or whoever, which are typically largely overrepresented pools in the in in the applicant pool. So they will not compare you with that. They'll compare you within that your same country. Like if you're coming from a small country in South Africa, or if you're coming from Nepal, or if you're the lone applicant, from Bangladesh or Myanmar, they might look at you very differently. Okay, but for the average Indian applicant, where the average Indian applicant, let me just backtrack, who has very high GPA scores, you may be in for a little bit of trouble. So, what you should focus on? Focus on showing quantitative rigor. The GMAT GRE is definitely a great way to kind of showcase that you have the academic chops to handle the rigor of the business school degree. So you should definitely attempt to get that score. You can also pick up specific quant heavy projects at your work, and show quantitative skills through your resume. That is a very good thing to do. The other is you could also take a few MBA related courses. For example, MBA Math is a good course to kind of take and showcase that score as a part of your application. You can also do courses like the HBS score, which is a business fundamentals course, which shows readiness, academic readiness for business school. They also used to be a Wharton course similar on Coursera. I don't know if that exists now, but you should definitely check, platforms like Coursera, edX, to kind of check, if there are similar courses that get you basically ready for business school. So no, it's not that you must have a high GPA, but if you have or poor GPA, please have an explanation as to why the GPA was poor. Plus, if you are in a highly overrepresented applicant pool, case in point is the Indian male engineer, then this might be a cause of concern. So this is definitely, a gray area as far as a myth is concerned. So you need not have a high GPA. You definitely can do with an average GPA also. But if you have a poor GPA, then that definitely needs explaining, and that definitely needs corroborative evidence through other parts of your applications that you are ready to take on the challenges at business school. That's, I think, it. That brings us to the last slide of our presentation. This is, we're happy to address some questions before. So let's address the questions first. I think, Gunjan, let's do that, and then we'll announce our offer. Should we do that?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Okay, so Gunjan and I will take questions alternatively. I'll just start asking the questions, and then we can just kind of I'll just pass some on along to Gunjan. Um, so Gunjan, this is a question I think you can take. What if I recently got promoted but need a few more months so that I have enough pointers under the new role? And this question came right when you spoke about the round one versus
Yes.
round.
Yes. So, yes, of course, after, you should be able to be in a role for at least 2 to 3 months at the minimum to be able to show some impact that you would have made. So that's why I said that, if let's say the round one is just getting over, because between round one and round two, you still have enough time. If you've just been promoted, you have enough time to showcase that in your application. So, definitely a few months is required for you to be able to do justice to the application after you've been promoted.
Great. I think, and just to backtrack on what really happened to the poll, I think the poll answers were completely divided in round one versus round two versus indifferent. I think it was equally divided. We got equal number of responses. So I think Gunjan already covered that, which is, I think, great. Now, the other question is, I am a beginner, provide information for future MBA aspirants. Well, I think, this is a very generic ask for future MBA aspirants. Like I said, watch webinars like these, right? GMAT Club has amazing webinars. Plus, you can go to our YouTube channel, which is the Red Pen MBA YouTube channel. Just Google that, and you will you'll land on my YouTube page. So watch webinars, try to find out business schools, try to understand. It's great if you're a beginner, you're just starting early. Try to understand which geographies interest you more, and then start a deep dive into specific business schools. And it's good that you early, give yourself the time. Like I mentioned, please maintain a Word document or an Excel file where you note down, the outputs of your research, because memory is fickle. You cannot rely on memory. So write everything down. It will truly be a game changer in your MBA applications. What is considered a strong score for GMAT focus version? I'm not a test prep expert. I don't know if Gunjan, you have the answer to that, or
No, well, actually, the GMAT Focus Edition, it really depends on the percentile now more than the score, because everybody is appearing it for the, I mean, that way. And also it depends on the geography, which geography, as Preeti mentioned, like, whether you're coming from. So, yeah, that is all I could add here.
cool. Do current CTC package, the CTC is basically your remuneration for others listening in, also asked or matters or affects anything in admission to good business schools, or is it only quality of work experience? So they definitely ask for your income, because in the application form there is a section on your employment experience, and you have to, for each employer that you work with, you have to provide these details. Does it matter to a certain degree? Yes, to a certain degree, definitely matters, but not in the context of the impact that you created at work and the work experience. You may be a startup founder who just got, $1 million worth of term sheet, right? I mean, you don't have anything. You probably not made any salary in the last whatever couple of years. But if you are like, listen, I have this $1 million worth of funding, and this is, it's already growing, it's scaling, then they will probably not look at. See, it's one of the factors which is definitely taken into consideration. Also, it could be a factor that is considered when they look at your ability to pay tuition fees, right? I mean, if they will ask you, if your compensation is too low and your work experience is also very thin, how do you plan to pay for business school? So they may try to use it as a factor to evaluate whether this person will need scholarships, will they need fellowships, will they complete the degree, or will they just drop out because they don't have the ability to pay. So for those factors, they will definitely evaluate it. But this is something I think, you can also speak with the financial aid office of a particular business school as a part of your school research. You can definitely do that. Um, yeah, that
Yeah,
that's
is getting laid off seen as a weakness in MBA application? Well, I would need more context. How long have you been laid off? If it's just a couple of months, then it's fine. But if it's longer, like let's say 6 months or longer, then you need to really explain what you've been doing while you were laid off and you were out of the workforce, how you were upskilling yourself. And this could not be something like, okay, I was traveling around the world, because that's not something what they're looking for. They're looking for more perspective in terms of how you've been able to add to your skill set that would help you excel professionally. So, yes, I hope that answers your question. Next is, there is one student who has a very low CGPA on undergrad, but he has a high CGPA in the postgraduate course. So, which grade is more is matters most, right? So, well, when you are talking about grades, they would look at all the grades closely. So, if you have a postgraduate degree, they would look at the postgraduate degree as well. And if let's say you've been able to perform better there, then maybe your low CGPA could be to a certain extent looked at differently, but that's really depends from admission officers to admission officers. They do not give us a clear criteria. Okay, somebody who's had a good postgraduate and little lesser CGPA in the undergraduate, so it's okay. It sort of strikes each other off. No, it doesn't work like that. It really depends from case to case. So if you've had a low CGPA, and again, in the postgraduate, how many quant courses did you have? If you did well in quant, then that could add more perspective to your application. And if you feel that quant wasn't it wasn't a very quant heavy course, then as Preeti suggested, you should sort of look at scoring. First, you should definitely look at scoring well in the competitive exam like the GRE or GMAT. And secondly, you should also look at taking MBA math or some supplementary course to show them that you're ready for the rigor. Because the reason why they look at CGPA closely is they want to understand whether you will be able to take up the rigor of the course. And since it's a quant heavy course, MBA is a quant heavy course. That's why quant section is looked at very closely. Preeti, do you want to take up the next one?
Um, what would be considered as a low GPA? Can we have a range for Indians? It really depends. It depends on the degree which you have done. For example, Indian male engineers usually an 8 point plus GPA is considered very competitive, and that's a good competitive score for an Indian male engineer applicant pool. But if you've done commerce and science and arts, then it's very contextual to the degree that you've done. They will also consider the institution from where you've graduated. So if you have, let's say, a very high ranking institution which they know, they have a record, right, of the folks who have come to their campus and who graduated, who've been successful, and they keep a track of that. So they will go back and they will say, okay, this person, let's say, went to X college, and the people usually who come from this college to us have done extremely well on our campus. That will also play well in your favor. So also look at seniors, from your undergrad, who've gone on to some of these business schools. Um, what would be a high level timeline for round two MBA applications, considering that I still need to take GMAT focus edition? For round two applications, we do have people, actually who are starting now, and fairly so, because for round one, we had people sign up as early as Jan and Feb. So I would say that at least start with business school research, and do get your profile evaluation done, and get a list of business schools that meet your personal and professional goals. So once you have a school selection ready, and you're doing your business school research on the side, talking to people, documenting the research and everything, then you can continue to give the focus edition, and then even if you pick up the actual application work in the month of November and December, give yourself 2 months. If not, if even if you do mid-November to end of December, you can do that. But keep just chipping at it now. Gunjan, you want to take the next?
Yeah, yeah. I went for QS event recently. Majority of the schools recommended round one, shared numbers of the recent class ratio being 3:1 split between round one and round two. Well, Siddharth, we are members of AGAC at the Red Pen, and at least all the M7 and S10 schools that we interact with on a regular basis, they have told us time and again that there is actually no they are really really round agnostic. It's not a race that the person who puts in first will get in first. So it really depends on the quality of the application and not when you are submitting the application. We definitely suggest not to go up to round three because you might land up with visa issues as well. So between round two and round one, most schools are agnostic. Provide list of courses for pre-MBA and extracurricular activities to increase profile. I think Preeti has spoken about the pre-MBA courses that you could take to enhance your profile. As far as extracurricular activities go, well, now that's the thing. It's not something that you have to tick off the list. It really comes from your place of passion. I had a client who was into gardening. I mean, uh, and she got through hers because she said that how gardening makes her feel alive. So it really depends what is the kind of extracurricular you resonate with. It could be, and schools have also said that they're not really looking for high activity stuff like skydiving or something like that. Even photography, if you could explain what photography has done to you and somehow relate to how it has also helped you in your professional life, that is what would make for a good extracurricular case, rather than saying that okay, you should do this 1 2 3 4 activities. So I hope that answers your question. Preeti, you want to take up the next?
Yeah. Does Indian university ranking matters? As I've seen people with very high CGPA in college ranking very low. What does that mean?
Matter.
University rankings, yeah, they matter. They definitely matter. And if you've done one of those IGNU courses, which is like distance learning, you still have to explain in the optional essay, and you still have to have a proper university transcript and everything. So, Indian university ranking per se, they will not go to a particular, like a US News ranking or something to kind of say, oh, what is equivalent ranking for Indian universities, and so on and so forth. But they definitely know. They know based on the data that they have maintained of alumni who have studied at their business school. Um, okay, this is a question I want to take. I went for a QS event recently, majority of the schools recommended round one, shared numbers of recent class. Did you take this already?
Yes, I've already taken it.
You've taken all this. Yeah, yeah. It's so always remember that when they're sharing the numbers, please look at the numbers that are they Indian applicant pool numbers. Typically, traditionally, number of round two applications are lesser than round one. That does not mean your success at round two is lesser in the same ratio. In fact, with Indian applicants, what we've seen is because the extremely high achievers and highly competitive applicants tend to apply in round one, your competition in round two actually tends to be much lower. And we've seen very good results. Um, yeah, it doesn't make, it definitely doesn't, sorry, I just, so it doesn't make sense to, only just focus on round one because your competition in round one would be very, very high.
Yeah.
These numbers for okay, this person is saying these numbers were for Indian applicants. So that's what I'm saying. The number of Indian applicants is definitely in the number of applicants overall in round one is anyway higher versus round two. So in any which case, but the competition in round one also tends to be much higher than in round two. You have to remember that. Um, I think I'll take one more question, and Gunjan, you can take one more because we do want to leave some time to announce our offers. So that I think I'm
Yes.
going to leave Gunjan to announce. I'll just take one more question, and I had some supplementaries during my bachelor's engineering program. Does it matter now? It depends. I would recommend that for questions which are very specific to your profile, just um, send us an email. This is our email address, team.mba@theredpen.in. Reference this webinar and ask for either Gunjan or me or both of us, and just say that you want to talk to us, and then we can address your specific questions about scholarships. Yes, they vary according to the round that you're applying for. If you're interested in scholarships, please look at the school specifications and apply accordingly. For example, Columbia's merit scholarship deadline is in January. For most schools, if you're looking for a scholarship along with your application, you should look at round one because definitely the pool of scholarships to give away is better in round one compared to round two. That being said, coming back to the point which Gunjan had made, if your profile is not strong enough at round one, you've not worked, on your application to the extent that you really should, then there's no point hurrying and putting in a subpar application because that's not going to get you to the scholarship any which ways.
Okay, so with 10 minutes to go, Preeti, I think we should go ahead and announce the offer now. So I would request Abhijit if he could please put up the Google form for us to. Yes, so this is the offer. We are offering a 2+1 package, which means that with every two school, you would get one school free, and the cost of this offer is worth $1,500. So it's a great offer. We've never rolled it out in the recent years, and I would highly encourage you that if you're interested in the offer, do put in your email address along with give reference the webinar, and somebody from the team would reach out to you. Let me tell you that this offer is valid only for 48 hours. So if you're interested in taking our services, please act now and fill up the application, fill up the Google form, and we will take it up from there. We would probably send you an email, asking more details, and we could schedule calls accordingly, where you could ask us questions on our processes and how are we going to move ahead with the application. So please
Just
hang on.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, just one last question, Gunjan. Does Redpen help just with resume evaluation? Yes, we help with standalone. If you want help just with your profile evaluation, resume evaluation, letters of recommendation, or you can put your entire application together and say, hey, can you just do like we offer a service called spot analysis where we review your entire application 2 to 3 times. We give you feedback, you work on it, you come back to us. That's much cheaper as well, and then you still get feedback on where you stand. I would still look at the entire package, but we do offer standalone services.
So yes, the link is open for 15 minutes. So guys, please go ahead and fill it up, and do share the content if you like it. And it was great interacting with all of you today. Thank you so much for your time. We hope that you do well and you get through the colleges that you've always dreamt of. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gunjan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.